Shit! If this video gets demonetized, then, I don't know, Susan was on Epstein's fly list. Do you have any idea how old Minecraft is? When was the last time you checked? 12. It's 12 years old. That's a fifth of the way past a decade. The average American high school career is 4 years. You could go through 3 entire campaigns of high school, beginning to end, and Minecraft would still be relevant and in development. Have you ever encountered something that's been around for 12 years and somehow has never changed? No. Not likely. Anything that lives past even just 3 years has a hard time keeping itself consistent. If it ever is consistent, it's usually old and dead like a retro game or TF2. We grow tired with consistency. Humanity hates static entertainment. Minecraft's got the same kind of situation. It's changed a lot in its time. It's still the same game though. Not Minecraft 2 or Minecraft Ultimate, it's still just Minecraft. But the Minecraft experience in 2014 and the Minecraft experience in 2023, they're very different. Minecraft's identity is entirely alien to what it was at its inception. So imagine yourself in an age where you don't know shit about the funny block game. You're in survival. The wiki's undercooked, the game's still fresh, and there's a chance you don't know much about the game yet. You go around grabbing necessities. Maybe you're confused and just start punching trees out of random happenstance, or maybe the one thing a friend's told you about it is that you should punch trees at the start. You figured out some basic crafting bits. At least a sword or something, possibly a hoe if you're unlucky enough. And then night falls. It's darker, and that's upsetting, but you've seen this a few times in games by now. It won't be too much that you can't handle. But then you hear something. Something directly behind you. You don't know what that is, you don't know where it's coming from, all you do know is that it's unsettling, you can't see shit, and you have a health bar for a reason. This is either where you're caught off guard and die, or manage to scrape your way through to your first victory. But it's a genuinely startling experience. You're left alone in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, punching trees to live and swinging around farming supplies, and suddenly you get ganked by an extra from Thriller in first person. And all that terror, it's over a zombie. That's the Minecraft equivalent of a Goomba. There's a lesser chance that you'd have to run into a creeper instead. Could you imagine what that'd be like, to feast your eyes on that thing for the first time? But that experience, you're not gonna get it in 2023. Especially not with a creeper, because everybody knows what a creeper is. When it runs up to you and hisses, you know it's gonna blow, and you know it's something that should be expected from this property. But in an isolated context, it's a freaky four-legged phallic thing with a corrupted green texture that hisses at you like a gremlin and blows you to kingdom come. That thing should be terrifying, but because it's the Minecraft mean thing, it means sweet dick all besides a crater to clean up after. It's sort of like how nobody's ever surprised by Sans being tough in Undertale anymore. Everybody's heard Megalovania. Everybody knows you fight him if you've been a naughty serial killer. It's a plot twist that's been stolen from any newcomers. The realization of who Sans is has been permanently spoiled by his own popularity. The creeper is just such a thing. Minecraft can't scare anybody with the uncertain, the unknown, or the unconquered anymore. You know everything by default. The thing is, Undertale still doesn't spoil you on Sans' true nature. Not even Deltarune does that. In isolation, the game's completely the same, but its own popularity, its own presence in the cultural zeitgeist has morphed the act of experiencing it into something slightly different. Because society at large knows who Sans is, that external factor has permanently branded all future experiences of Undertale. But the game's the exact same game as always. Minecraft is like that, but to an extreme degree. When you think of Minecraft in 2023, do you think of a terrifying survival experience and an unknown landscape, a practice of patience and resourcefulness, and an impressively infinite yet harrowingly isolated world? It's more likely that you think of folks like this.
No way, dude!
For the first time ever in 2B2T history, slave labor.
Or things like this. Or maybe even things like this.
It's diamond, diamond, gotta get me some diamond. Never thought that I would ever find it,
Minecraft's identity has grown beyond its content, to the point where it's even seeped into that content. Bedrock is absolutely the most prominent example of this, with thousands of licensed skins to play in and a huge focus on the experience of online servers and communities with histories and events and games. It's a little hard to feel the immersion of the unknown wilds when I'm fighting green penises as E102 Gamma. When people think of Minecraft, they don't think of that uniquely immersive experience. They think of Bed Wars, YouTubers, grifty servers, and the fact that you can play a Sonic roguelike in it. They think of Dream SMP, funny music videos, and Smash Bros. Shenanigans. But here's the kicker. Just like how Undertale is still just Undertale, none of these new additions take away from that core experience. In fact, the core experience has only been improved over the years. Return to that identity from earlier, of the person who doesn't even know what a creeper is. Could you imagine their reaction upon seeing an Enderman, a tall, spooky being who takes shit off of their front lawn and runs toward them at 5 meters per second whenever you look at them funny? Worst yet, there's an entire dimension of them now, and it's located underneath a massive underground labyrinth and inhabited by a dragon. To get even more modern, could you imagine running into villagers for the first time and stumbling upon your first illager raid? Or maybe you dug down too deep and ended up facing off against a warden with zero knowledge as to how to handle it. The villagers, they're strange Squidward people who you can barely communicate with. They're not like you. Even when you find non-hostile mobs, they're still just foreign enough that you feel alone regardless. The abyss gets deeper, the world gets more mysterious, and the monsters get more menacing. Minecraft is still terrifying. If you grabbed some gentlemen from an isolated tribe on a newly discovered island, taught them how to play games, and sat them in front of Minecraft for the next few hours, you'd have an even better, more pure experience than you probably did your first time. It's still there. It's always been there. It's just been paved over by assumed identity's mass popularity and the innovative and experimentative spirit that it engenders. But it's not bad that it's been paved over. In the process of that paving over, we've taken this highly modular and diverse experience and we've pushed it further than Notch could have ever dreamed QAnon would have predicted. On top of that expansive wilderness, we've built cities, we've overcome that lonely atmosphere and built communities full of friends, rivals, and predators. We developed entertainment. We've innovated with new technologies. It's not a bad thing that we can see a creeper coming, because now that we've gotten past that stage of identifying the threat, we've realized we can use its gunpowder to make TNT. And that TNT eventually gets us to very cool and very safe WMDs. In that way, Minecraft is tamed. It's a vast wilderness unlike any other, and just like any other wilderness, it was once mysterious and deadly. It inspired both wonder and fear, and the simple acts of exploring and survival were all it took for it to fulfill us. But you can't stay a survivor forever. You have to stop surviving and learn new things to start thriving. We've tamed Minecraft by thriving in it. By having it be something we understand, something that everybody knows about, we may have lost the marvel and mystery it came packaged with back in the day. Herobrine will never again be terrifying because we know for a fact that a mob like that doesn't exist in the game. But we've also transformed it into something so much more than a thrilling experience. It's a platform now, a medium filled with its own thriving worlds and communities that have years upon years of history. But like I said before, you can still go back to that survival experience at any time. You might know how to face all these problems, but you can still have a fun time facing them. You can still adapt to new content added in updates, and experience a hint of the thrill from that first time playing. When you want to escape the bustle of modern life, just go camping. Modern Minecraft is a cityscape, it's civilization. It affords us with so many wonderful amenities and niceties, and we often take for granted the sheer amount of effort that is put behind it all. But at any time, if we want proper perspective, we can head outside the city limits to go camping at some backwoods locale and get a taste of independence. Once we're refreshed on how hard it is to light fires, it only makes it even more impressive when we turn on the light switch in our houses. Reporters Without Borders is an international nonprofit dedicated to providing truth and proper education to everybody everywhere, regardless of where they live or what oppresses them. They opened up a Minecraft server called the Uncensored Library, which serves as an interactive 3D database of controversial and typically censored information to multiple countries all over the globe. Through modern Minecraft, a non-profit organization is able to deliver life-saving and enlightening info to places where it's downright illegal. Can we really complain about the old days being better when the new days allow grand ideals like these to come to fruition? Oftentimes, we get caught up in the idea that the thing we loved has been changed for the worse. Sometimes, yeah, it just genuinely gets morphed into something god-awful. But it's not uncommon to hear that something has simply lost the magic, despite not doing anything too wrong. While it's a controversial topic these days, the talks of Pokemon going downhill existed long before Gen 8. It began as early as Gen 3 and it never really stopped, even though with the power of hindsight, people can often see that many of the newer generations are also amazing in their own right. Similarly, you might have heard someone say something like, "I've grown out of Pokemon, it just doesn't do anything for me anymore." But is it really proper to say you've grown out of it? The franchise offers plenty of in-depth mechanics and complicated interworkings for adults to chew on for years. It's a game that can grow with you, if that's something you want. No, this is something much different than being too old for it. Something very similar to how people feel about new Minecraft when we reminisce about the good old days and how survival just doesn't hit the same anymore. We've simply learned. We've overcome these things, and while we can learn more, there's no real definite way to recapture that old magic. But that's not really a bad thing either. Now that the magic is no longer mystifying, we can see it as a science, something clear, formulaic, and understood. When you have that true understanding, you can also love something more truly than before. You can love it and enjoy it on a level beyond just that superficial first impression. When people say they've outgrown something, oftentimes it just means they stop trying to enjoy it because they can't see any further value in it. But if you dig down deep enough, there's always something new that you can enjoy in it. They didn't get worse, you didn't outgrow it, you just need to embrace the possibility that it can be transformed into something new now. When you're the champion of Kanto, maybe try taking on people in Showdown, or maybe experiment with breeding and shiny hunting, give a Nuzlocke a try, or sample the hundreds of high-quality Pokemon ROM hacks out there. Learn from the Minecraft community. When things stop being mystical and amazing and adventurous, maybe it's not their fault. Maybe it just means we've grown to understand them more completely, and maybe, just maybe, it means that you can start loving them at a much more important level. Move past that era where you skulk about in the dark looking for iron and dodging around creepers, and start building some truly magnificent accomplishments. Love the game more honestly. Know all of its flaws, know all of its strengths, and do something unheard of with it all. The grass on the other side is always greener. Once it's ours, it loses a bit of that green. It's last week's grass. As a people, we've touched too much grass. We've absorbed too much media. We've been exposed to too many experiences. Things just aren't new anymore, but that's okay. If you want to keep touching greener grass, you have to go outside. And now that you're outside, there's so much more that you can do than just admire grass for being green. You can play outside on the lawn, go exploring in a forest, travel and meet new friends and rivals. Maybe you could even stick around, plant some seeds in the grass's soil, and grow some grass of your own. Even if it's not green anymore, that grass still has value for you to find. You just have to want to find it. There's more to life than greener grass. There's more to a game than just how we remember loving it. Minecraft may be different, but it can be something new, and if we ever want more of the same, it's willing to be that too. When we recognize that attaching ourselves to our past nostalgia will only hurt our new experiences, suddenly it's not just easier to accept the new directions games go in, it's also easier to appreciate things just like it's the first time all over again. There we go, third video essay done and dusted. It's out now, and I hope it lived up to the potential of the second one. The overwhelmingly positive reaction that I got to the second video really, it was something that I needed, so thank you very much for all of your kind words, all of the very helpful feedback, and I hope that in this one it addressed some issues that some people had with the second, even though the topic is very different. There's actually a fun story that I didn't have time to mention here because it happened immediately after recording, after I had finished all of the audio and such. When I went to go get footage for just typical survival mode stuff you've seen throughout this video, I ran into a scenario where I had a status effect that I wasn't even aware was in the game. I fell into snow and nearly died of frostbite. So I had to dig a tunnel underground in order to find shelter, and it led to me, with wooden tools, strip mining in the darkness in a straight line through solid rock for like 30 minutes. And along the way, I managed to craft stone tools, and then eventually, because I found coal and of course stone, it was everywhere, I managed to smelt some iron as well and make iron tools from that. And then from there, I managed to find one singular diamond, and even though I was nearly starving to death, I popped out that other end, and it was triumphant, it was picturesque. I had the moon in the background, the beautiful sky, it was wonderful. And then I immediately died to a creeper. And that's the kind of experience that reminded me of some of my first and earliest years playing survival Minecraft. I think nearly over a decade ago, probably just under a decade. And that really goes to show you just how much this game can still have that magic if you just go into it with the previous nostalgia that you had in mind completely removed, because its new features were affording me that experience. Thankfully, I got that on footage. I just didn't have anywhere else to put it, so I hope you enjoy that. Haters will say it's staged. The mark of good art is when people can discuss it in ways that haven't been discussed before. And, well, I'm not about to say that we're talking about things that haven't been touched on before. This kind of stuff you'll find very often in a forum. The discussions that are happening in my comments section, I read every comment. And the fact that so much of you put so much thought into your comments means a lot to me, because I feel like that reflects very well on the content I've created, and that means a lot to me. Additionally, I'd like to thank you all for sending donations. The first time I got a donation, it really did mean a lot to me, but now that I've gotten so many, even though it's not an overwhelming amount, it's definitely more than I would have expected. You're giving me money for free, for literally nothing, and that means a lot to me. Thank you. That really does mean the world to me, because it reassures me that what I'm doing is of worth to people. In particular, I'd like to thank Art Hollow, Lakey Miles, and Theo for giving me a tip. And of course, my first ever donator, New Face, as well. That definitely means a lot to me. Again, the fact that you're all doing this for no gain, no personal gain, solely just because you want to see me make more stuff, that does mean a lot to me. So thank you very much. I think at this point, even though I aim for a week, it takes me about 2 weeks. So I'll say see you in 2 weeks. I'll try and release it within a week as much as possible, but with life getting in the way and as many things and responsibilities I need to take on right now, it's most likely going to be in 2 weeks, so we'll call that my schedule from now on. Again, thank you all very much for the support, and I hope you're looking forward to my next video. The reception towards the last one, and hopefully this one, they've meant a lot to me. Please have yourselves a good night, and enjoy the things that you have in ways that you maybe haven't before.